Action of yesterday. So they had that Sloan conference this weekend, and Wick Grousbeck, who was one of the owners of the Boston Celtics, was there. And he was talking about the struggles that his team had in the month of February. Here's what he said.
From November to February 1st, we had the best record in the league. You know, February has been the worst February I can remember.
Right.
Thank God it's March. We're undefeated in March.
We call that foreshadowing. They played their first game of March yesterday, and Kyrie Irving was in a terrible mood before it even began. Listen to this.
I'm not going to miss any of this.
All right, so there's that.
Very optimistic.
Yeah, I'm not sure what had him upset. Maybe it was the fact that he was going to have to guard this guy a lot, if you want to call this guarding him. Look at the straight line to the basket for Harden.
Well, Greeny, the Houston Rockets lead the league in most attempted threes. They have 5 shooters on the floor, which opens up spacing. You can't leave anybody, which opened up driving lane after driving lane for the Bears.
And Harden taking it strong, and the Rockets had a 10-point lead. And now we're still in the first quarter here. Harden going the other way. Here comes Chris Paul. Celtics look terrible on defense.
Watch that pass. I mean, that pass by CP3 is why he's one of the all-time leading assist leaders. So good at just being patient with the ball, and Eric Gordon got hot.
Eric Gordon got ridiculously hot. He made 8 threes in this game. On the other side, the Celtics couldn't throw it in the ocean. That's Al Horford with an air ball. They were 1 of 13 from 3 in the first half. They scored 43 points. Harden and Gordon had 43 points. Come out of halftime. Gordon, another 3. The Rockets are up 25. Next possession, Paul, Gordon, again. Celtics call timeout less than a minute into the third quarter.
What happened to the Boston Celtics being one of the best defensive teams in the league? That is not the case anymore.
This year happened. Fourth quarter now. They've cut it to 9. Harden guarded by Kyrie. You just can't stop this guy. He can do so many different things.
That's the problem, Greeny. Like, Kyrie Irving is playing great defense, but there's nothing he can do. Even ISO by himself, this is where James Harden gets buckets. That's great defense, just a better shot.
His 24th 40-point game of the season. He would finish with 42. Kyrie, 24, but a minus 17. Rockets win again. Kyrie, talk to me.
How tough was that one for you guys tonight?
It's tough.
What happened in the first half?
Just didn't play well.
Kyrie, in your career, have you ever gone through anything like this?
9 over-the-top exotics. You can see, touch, and even test drive the very latest in automotive design. The Silicon Valley Auto Show, March 7th through the 10th at the San Jose McHenry Convention Center. Get tickets at svautoshow.com. Experience the future of drive.
Your girls have been with you through every moment of your life. And they're still with you right now. But how well do you know them?
At Sports Center after Texas and Texas Tech troops. Steve Levy, John.
I just never thought I would say this. Kyrie Irving is to the Celtics what Paul George was to the Indiana Pacers. And I think the best case scenario for each entity is to have a divorce. I know Celtic fans don't want to hear that. I know they still want to win a championship, but regardless of what happens this year, I don't see this working out. When he's on the floor, they play a different style of basketball than when he's off the floor. He sat like the last 5 minutes of that fourth quarter last night, and they made a run and almost got back in the game. For a guy who's your bona fide leader, that's not a great showing. You said it, minus 17 on the floor, and the only reason I give the equivalence of Paul George is, do you remember those last couple of games that Paul George had with the Pacers? You know, there's one play in the playoffs where C.J. Miles took a shot that Paul George should have gotten. He said some words in the media afterwards. He started really divulging his frustration to the media, and I think that just accumulated, and it started to break down the chemistry of the team. And I think that we're seeing the same exact thing happen with Kyrie. It's appalling to watch because this team has all the talent in the world that they should be there to win the conference finals.
There are 2 pieces to this. There's obviously the on-the-floor part, but we showed it to you there. He was in a bad mood walking into the gym. He was frustrated and upset, and then the one-word answers afterwards, and what's going on with him in here?
If you're a leader, you can't lead by that example. You know, and you heard a lot of coaches say this, actions speak louder than words, Laura. Your actions are speaking louder than your words.
Yeah.
And your words are just piling on the fire. It's like putting gasoline on a fire that already existed, when regardless of whether you believe it or not, that's where you spin it with positivity. You have no other choice. We're seeing LeBron try to do that. That's what Kyrie should be doing right now.
So we kind of laughed at Greeny a little while ago when he started putting it out there that maybe the Celtics were better without Kyrie on the floor. Now we're seeing an example of maybe they are better without him on the floor. So that's one thing. But my other thing about this, Jay, is we always think that the best player on the team should also be the best leader. Are those two things actually mutually exclusive, or is that not always the case?
No, they're not. And I think we're watching Kyrie learn how to lead on the fly. And, you know, look, two things can be true at the same time, okay? Kyrie is a very gifted player. He still has a chance to be a great leader. It just doesn't mean that he needs to be a gifted player and a potential leader on the Boston Celtics. There could be a different team he can do that for. Right. But here's another question for you, and I think every fan in the offseason has to start thinking about this now. If you can't lead a team like this, as gifted as the Celtics, if you have a team in free agency that you're trying to rebuild, what gives any free agency or any team in free agency the thought of mind that you have a chance to do that with them? If you're trying to build that culture.
I mean, it's really tough. He's so impossibly talented that everyone will be clamoring for him regardless of all this stuff. But this is a very bad look for Kyrie. Let me give you some numbers. Kyrie and the Celtics are going to look to find a remedy for their offensive woes if they're going to turn this thing around. They're last in the NBA in offensive efficiency since the All-Star break. They were 9th before the break. Meanwhile, Laura, Lakers.
Yeah, what's worse, the Lakers or the Celtics right now in the NBA? The Lakers haven't looked like a playoff team as of late. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games, 5-12 since January 19th. The 3rd worst record in the NBA. Of course, this after LeBron said they needed to kick it into high gear. Defense has been the big issue. No team has allowed more points per game since January 19th. The Lakers ranked 29th in fast break points per game allowed over that span and 26th in defending the paint. And it all came to a head on Saturday when the Lakers lost to the Suns, who entered the game with an NBA worst 190 win percentage. That's the worst win percentage ever by a team defeated by LeBron James.
At times we play well. I think we was always together at times as well. I have the right mind frame of what we're trying to accomplish tonight. As a collective group, we didn't always have it. You know, a few of us had it at times, but it wasn't always a 5-man collective, group.
All right, so we feel like we're talking about the Lakers' odds every single time to make the playoffs. The Westgate Las Vegas Superbook offering a prop on the Lakers making the playoffs. Yes is plus 600 and no is minus 900. So our friends in the desert are saying it's a long shot, but I guess they are saying there is a chance. And Jay, well, the Lakers are now a full 4.5 games out of the playoffs with another team ahead of them. Will your initial thought change at all about watching them this weekend and what you think with their playoff chances?
Magic Johnson needs to shut LeBron James down. He needs to take it away from LeBron because LeBron's pride will want him to play. LeBron is the ultimate competitor. He will want to compete for an 8th spot. But if you're thinking about long-term return on investment for LeBron James, who is 34 years old, you have to be able to compartmentalize out of your Magic Johnson and say, okay, LeBron, sit down. I don't need you to get injured. You're already coming off an injury, even though the numbers you're putting up are pretty good. I don't need you extra taxing yourself. Sit down, get healthy. Hey, let's get these younger assets back involved. Let's let them play without LeBron, showcase themselves so you can create more assets during the free agency. Also, hey, Luke Walton, you're going to be the next head coach of UCLA. Let's start looking forward to who our next head coach is going to be and start really paying attention to who we're going to trade for in the offseason. BPI gives them 1.1% chance to make the playoffs. Why are you fighting for that? Let it go. Focus on next year. Long-term POV.
This is 2 different issues this morning on which I feel like you were coming over to my side.
You've been talking me into
I've been saying this for a while because even if they do make it, what are you making it for? Are you going in there just to get your head handed to you by Golden State? It doesn't make any sense. The New Orleans Pelicans have nothing to be gained by playing Anthony Davis the rest of the way, and they are because they're in this weird purgatory that the NBA has placed them in. The Lakers are in the same situation. They have nothing to be gained by playing LeBron James the rest of the way. Now, he's healthy, and he's good. I get it. I have so much respect for the guy. He's going to want to find a way to get them there, which is why I totally agree with your take. Magic has to sit him down and say, dude, this isn't going to be the year. It was never going to be the year. let's start figuring out what we're doing from here.
And what's always been our thing about LeBron, Greeny, like, why do people think he won championships in Miami? Because he had Pat Riley, somebody he listened to.
Yeah.
This is the opportunity for Magic to say, hey, listen, young fella, listen to me on this. Over the last month, we've lost to the Hawks. We've lost to the Grizzlies. We lost to the Pelicans. We lost to the Suns, a team in dead last in the NBA. It's time to think forward instead of instant gratification.
It does feel like must win, though, against the Clippers, or does it not?
Well, I mean, every game is a must-win.
Yeah.
I mean, they have one of the most difficult schedules. By the way, all those teams we just mentioned, those are games you have to win those games.
Of course.
It shouldn't come down to you trying to beat the upper half of the Western Conference. You win the games you're supposed to win, and then hopefully you get one or two of these games against the upper half.
They're losing to teams that are tanking.
So
tonight they're playing the
190 win percentage.
in their own building. They're playing the Clippers in their own building, a team that traded away their best player before the trade deadline, and the Clippers are going to beat him and knock him out of the playoffs.
Not the Lakers building this season.
No, it isn't, and it hasn't been for a while.